Bill. So I have a special guest. Can Miss Pertutti come up here, please?
Thank you for having me.
So I think your full name is Caitlin Pertutti.
Yes.
Okay. So I have a special question for you, Miss Pertutti. What is purity?
Purity is a choice, but if we are God's children, it's required. Purity is a choice that I made, saying that I would save myself for my future husband or wife in a guy's case.
Okay. And so how long have you had that ring on? I see that.
Almost a year.
Okay. So what happens when you eventually do find a man?
Well, I'm not necessarily gonna be dating him. It's more like courting. Like I'm looking for a husband, not just dating for fun.
Okay. Alright, so thank you for coming on the Dr. Bill Show. We have a Bible break. Thank you. Today on Dr. Bill Show. So last week we talked about purity. And so we have a little more of last week. So today we're going to talk about impurity with Lily Hupp. So can she please come up here? Lily! Okay, so can you talk about impurity?
Impurity? Actually, it's very hard to keep yourself pure. I would say most girls think that the guys always are impure. But it's mostly sometimes the ladies' fault, because they love the attention, as you bet. But to be honest, everyone thinks of impure thoughts. It's you need to deal with it, to be honest. You have to deal with it right, or you just continue to have these thoughts. I would say I have really troubling thoughts, but I do not go to God. I just go to someone else for help. God's the last thing on my mind. I just don't want to talk to him because I think I'm so impure. I think he'll leave me because of my impure thoughts. So I go to friends, family, etc. Anyone I can get my hands on. And by the end of the day, I just sit on my bed, close my eyes, and pray to him, tell him I'm sorry, and that he can get rid of my unhealthy thoughts. And it actually goes away.
Thank you. That's all the time we have for today before the Bible break. Alright, thank you. We'll see you next time after the Bible break.
Well, where's Dr. Bill? I thought this was the Dr. Bill Show. Oh, hi.
I'm Dr. Bill's secretary.
Oh, hi. Okay.
Dr. Bill was a part of an incident, and his fire ants got out, and he ended up in the ER. And we have a special guest today, and her name is Jill, and she is Dr. Bill's twin sister.
Great.
So let's give her a round of applause.
All right, thank you.
We love you, Dr. Jill.
Hello, I'm Dr. Jill,
meeting you. I'm Jim. I was the host or the guest today, and Dr. Bill asked me to come on the show, so
Yes.
he said he had written out some questions, and I wrote out some answers to kind of go along with the theme was homosexuality and the Christian life, so we thought we'd talk about that today, so I'm just trying to catch you up to speed. I don't
Yes,
know where
he
you're at,
actually
but-
did help me
Okay, good.
on it.
good.
So the first question is homosexuality sin as a special sort of sin?
Well, not really, because God is pure and holy, so in that way, no sin can be considered special. All sin is the same. I would say that since society has placed such an emphasis on homosexuality in particular, and maybe abortion too, that this is a particularly kind of new way of avoiding God's will, and so it is dangerous. It is a problem. It's a troublesome topic, let's put it that way, for Christians, and so we need to be careful as we address this topic.
Yes. So do you believe that God would create some people homosexual and then condemn them for their choices?
Well, I think that's a misconception that God would create us with that kind of a sin nature. We were all humans were created perfectly in God's image, but it was in the garden that Adam and Eve sinned and brought sin into human history. So, as sin, it is. Well, a good example would be if I decided I wanted to murder someone. I could say, well, God made me to be a murderer, so he wouldn't condemn me for that. But the Bible's very clear about not murdering, not killing people. And so it's very clear about homosexuality as well, so they're both sin.
And many people say that calling homosexuality a sin is intolerant or even hateful. Why do Christians seem so angry over this issue?
Well, it is a problem because I've heard a saying, hate the sin but love the sinner. The problem is when you're hating something, it tends to bleed over into the people that you're supposed to be loving, and so it causes that kind of anger, or it can seem to be angry. I think the better course is to explain to someone who Jesus Christ is as God's Son and how they might accept him as their Savior. And then together you can explore the Bible and find out what is sin and what is not sin and what we might do with our lives different from what we had been doing. So that's kind of all I had.
Yeah, well, it seems that we are out of time now, and it's time for a Bible break.
All right. There's the Bible.
Hi, my name is Jamie, and I am a teen writer, and I decided to write a book on abortion, and it's based off of a song called Lucy by Skillet. You probably could look it up, and the song makes me cry every time, so I decided to write a fan fiction about it. So I'm going to be reading the first couple chapters of my book, and it is called Lucy, just like the song. I lean against the bathroom sink, my finger tapping nervously against the side of my nose. Checking my watch again, I look towards the pregnancy test sitting on the counter. The two lines seem to mock me the longer I stare. I'm pregnant. I place my face in my hands, the tears wanting to spill over. 17 and pregnant. This will certainly ruin my reputation, maybe even our supposedly perfect families. I feel my phone vibrate in my pocket. It's most likely Larson. I remove it from my pocket and answer it, hoping he will be supportive of this newly known information. Hey Lars, I answer nervously. You're pregnant. I feel my eyebrows shoot a questioning look at him, even though he can't see me. How did you know? The way you answered the phone, and I also had a 50-50 chance of being right. I feel myself smile just a tiny bit. He always seemed to be able to make me smile, even in the worst situations. Yeah, could you pick me up and we talk at your place? I don't want Calvin or Dad to find out just yet. I bring my thumb between my teeth, a nervous habit I often find myself do. Sure, I'll be over in 10. We say our goodbyes before I hang up. I quickly cover and dispose of the forbidden item in the trash before heading back out to my room. I quickly gather a few items together and in my small backpack for the afternoon. I jump when I hear Larson honk, signaling that he is waiting in the driveway. I walk towards the front door yelling, "I'll be back in 9." I shut the front door and jump over into the passenger seat of Larson's convertible. "Are you sure you're okay?" He places a hand on my shoulder. I look up at him and nod. I feel the tears gather behind my eyes. He notices my shift in mood and quickly backs out of the driveway and towards his place. "What are you gonna do?" I look up. I don't have a clue. I can't tell anyone though. It would be the end of me. You obviously don't want anyone to know, so that really only leaves you one option. I look over towards Larson, intrigued by what he has to say. "Just get an abortion." I look back up towards the ceiling. I hadn't thought about that. Yep, that would have to do. And we would have to do it soon. We both sit up simultaneously and look at each other. "I'll work out the details. All you have to do is show up." I feel an overwhelming sense of thankfulness for Larson. He has always been there for me, through thick and thin. Tears begin to well up behind my eyes. "Thank you, Larson. I don't know what I would do without you." He brings me into a hug and we sit there on the bed. After a few minutes, I've calmed down enough to look at the time. "So let me reapply my makeup and then we can watch a movie or something for a couple of hours before I have to go home." He gives me a genuine smile before nodding. "Of course, we wouldn't want you to look horrendous now, would we?" He jokes. I laugh harder than I should and walk into the bathroom connected to his room. I find myself become slightly envious that he has his own private bathroom again. I take out my spare makeup bag from under the sink and contemplate what we are planning. An abortion doesn't sound so horrible.